Mountain, Island, Lightning Bolt, Spell Pierce, Switchblade, Stab Wound, Red Mage, Blue Mage.
How do I start a podcast again?
You're in charge today.
Surely not like that.
You're in charge today. Open us up.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
It's time for magic.
Magic.
No, okay, I was in control. You threw that all off. You weren't following the hand signals. You weren't following the mouth movements. I also had put up literally a bouncing ball with words for you to follow. You didn't follow it.
I didn't see it. Is it on our document?
It's on our document. The one I worked really hard on preparing for to make sure we have a good show today.
Oh, that one.
Yes.
The imaginary one. I forgot to look at that one.
What are you talking about? It's real as fuck.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to Red Mage, Blue Mage.
Red
I'm
Mage,
Amber.
Blue Mage.
Don't fucking interrupt me. You give me control of the show, and then you don't let me do anything.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm
Hi,
sorry.
everybody. God. Hi, everybody. It's Red Mage, Blue Mage. I'm Amber, the Red Mage.
I'm Kenny, the Blue Mage.
And today, like every day, we're going to talk about magic. Okay, how was that?
That was... I would give it a better score than the quiz from last episode. How about that?
Okay, I did pretty bad last time for that quiz, so I will take it.
You did at least better than that.
Whew. Ha. Good. Now you can take over because I did not prepare anything.
Well, that's okay. This is going to be, at least for the first half, it's going to be a very you episode because it's time to catch up in the Magic Catch-Up Storm.
Brum, 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 brum. We're playing magic. Oh my god. Magic Catch-Up Storm.
Here's some ketchup. Enjoy that. Put some Heinz on your magic cards. It's a catch-up storm.
That's terrible.
Thank you. And yes, as far as catching up on Magic, I've been Magic starved for weeks. I have not got to play any Magic, basically. But you have.
I have.
Because you just got back.
From Gen Con.
Gen Con.
And by just get back, this week I just got back. But in the listeners'
It's been a while.
world, it's been a while. Because Gen Con was in August.
It'll have been like a month, basically.
Yeah. But anyway, so Magic at Gen Con is something I used to do in the past. I don't really do it anymore. It's just because it costs... I mean...
To enter
if you want to play... Yeah, I mean, it does cost money to play Magic at Gen Con. But also just Gen Con's just turned into like a different sort of convention for me now. It's more like doing stuff for Geekspective, the network that we're a part of. Woo! Wink.
That's for you, Josh.
And doing networking and stuff like that. So I don't get to do a lot of gaming at Gen Con. But this year... Yeah.
How do you feel about that you don't get to do much gaming at Gen Con? Because you had a good Gen Con, clearly.
Oh, yeah, I did. But it's okay for me because I play games a lot on my own time, like not at a convention.
True.
I'm in at least 5 RPGs, or 5, TTRPG games, and playing Magic.
You can really,
local shop.
You can really find what you want at Gen Con. Because I know I am friends with people who go to Gen Con specifically because they don't get much of a chance to game, and Gen Con is just like gaming all weekend nonstop.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of... I mean, they have a whole exhibit hall that's just for Magic. It's huge. 2 things I want to talk about, though.
Hit me.
Specifically. Before I talk about playing Magic, I want to talk about how disappointed I am at their lack of preparation. So this weekend at Gen Con specifically... They announced maybe like 2 weeks before Gen Con.
This is Wizards you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
They were like, we're going to do exclusive panels at Gen Con.
Right.
And we're going to do Commander preview, and we're going to do some other cool stuff.
I remember that.
And, what's-his-face was there?
Jeff Goldblum?
Gabe?
Gavin Verity?
Gavin! Oh my god, and the names was I actually walked by him in the hall.
Did you?
In the hall, yeah.
He seems like a pretty solid dude.
Yeah, he walked by. He was going to some event. We know because it was like
At the time.
the time, and he was wearing a white pants and like a red jacket, and we're both like, I bet you he's about to announce the new red-white commander, which was totally what happened. But anyway, so they have event tickets for it, and in the thing at Gen Con, you can usually get like seminar tickets for free. They don't cost anything, and sometimes you can go to the seminar even if they're sold out because some people just don't show up or there's more room. And so we wanted to go to the commander panel, me and Brandon. And we went to where the ticket said to go, which is the exhibit hall.
Sure.
And we didn't have tickets, thinking, oh, this is a huge deal. They're going to be like, people, this is not like an unpopular fucking game.
No,
people
the
love
opposite of
Magic. And we're like, okay, cool. We'll show up to exhibit hall B. And knowing that exhibit hall is huge, going, oh, they must have it like in the back half of it or something. Like the back half of this huge hall.
Right.
So we get there. And then there's a registration table for, tournaments and stuff. And then there's just like this little, like,
Conference
20 foot by 20 foot, like,
literally a
curtain.
conference room.
Yeah, it was tiny. And the ticket said that there was 40 seats. And we're like, okay, looking at the crowd that's waiting around, there's like 60 people out here. I'm like, well, we're not going to get into it. Then the event person came and goes, actually, there's only 28 seats. So only the first 28 people in line who actually had a ticket could go sit down for this commander preview.
I don't understand.
And it was such a sham, too, because it's like I could stand and I could see through the curtain, like the screen that was back there.
Like the Wizard of Oz.
Yes. So I was very sad about that. Like,
this seems to have been a consistent problem across your entire Gen Con experience of them not having adequate space for shit.
Yeah, because my panel was pretty close to selling out. Had 91 tickets were sold, and then they gave me a room with 60 seats.
And
we had to turn people away.
Panels as well.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Yeah, we had some of our panels sold out and whatever. So anyway, but that's something else to complain about.
Sure.
So that was my Magic Wizards
But you would think that Wizards would get a decent room.
You would think so. Unless it was like last minute. Like I said, they announced it 2 weeks before the show.
I suppose so. Maybe they got shunted over there.
Okay, so there's that. But the thing that specifically Brandon and I were excited about to play was Mini Masters. And I got to do that. And that was silly. I love this format. It's stupid. It's great.
Can you describe this format?
So Mini Masters is literally you get 3 colors, 3 of each land, and 1 booster pack, and that's your deck. And you play with it.
1 booster pack, 3 of each land?
Yes.
So you have basically a 30-card deck?
It's a 30-card deck. And the way that this worked at the convention was you get your pack, you get your lands, you do one game. That's all you do against somebody. Winner goes on, gets another pack. Now, the reason why it was such a big deal is because it's free. Mini Masters was free, and they were M20 cards. There were 20. And so I wanted to go they were doing it every morning, and unfortunately, because it was free, and like things at Gen Con that are free, you have to show up like super fucking early.
Right, you have to camp the line.
Exactly. And the first time we tried, we missed it by 2 people. We were 2 people
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it was like there was only spot for 1 more, and Braden was like, I'll do something else. I'll do something else with you.
God damn it.
So we went the next day, and the next day was pretty funny because we sat down, and we were going to play, and the 2 people who were sitting in front of us to our, like, opponents were like, hey, just to let you know, we're waiting for a 2-headed giant game, and we don't know when it's going to start, so we might have to leave. And right as we were building our deck, they just left. They had to leave. So we won. We won the first round.
For free.
Now, that meant I went to the next table and I got my next set of cards. And because you get another pack of cards, you can use that to adjust your deck. And you can use the lands.
So it's not you're just rotating out brand new.
No.
It's just you use the total pool 30-card deck.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting.
So I was able to make a more tight deck, but it was, I mean, of course, when you get to only second
quote
pack,
unquote tight.
yeah, yes. So, but by the time you get to your second pack, you really have to still stay in like 3 color
Sure.
or 4 color. And just the cards that I got happened to be, I ended up being blue, green,
Nice.
black, green, black
Nice.
with a splash of white. And so I didn't have any fucking red in it whatsoever, which sucked
Nice.
because my next game was a guy who had a very strong red deck, and I unfortunately did not have the
Can
ability.
withstand the red storm.
Well, what happened was he got me down to 5. I happened to bring in Yar. It's it's a blue, green, black legendary creature.
Yahar Ghul.
Yark the Desecrated.
That's what I said.
Yep, it sounds exactly like it. Yark the Desecrated I'm bringing up the information. It costs 2 black, green, blue, and is a Death Touch lifelink. If a permanent entering the battlefield causes a trigger ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time, and he's a 3/5.
Right.
So he had that stupid spitter, like basically every time it attacks and does damage, it also does damage to you, to the opponent.
Okay.
I hate that card, especially when you can't do anything against it because my deck was so slow.
Mm-hmm.
But I was able to get Yarrick out, and he got
Visibly recoiled.
visibly recoiled, and he was like, "This is gonna be a Heart of Cards moment right now." Because I also had cards that was like Mind Rot, and I was making him discard stuff, and he actually drew a card that was able to kill Yarrick, and I was done. I was like, God damn it, I could have turned it around.
Close.
I could have turned it around, but so I only got to play 1 game. But it's such a silly format, and I really like it. It's something fun you could do with, like, if you're just like, I just want to pick up like $4 booster pack or whatever, and
It's cheap
play
to
it.
do.
It's cheap, and you can do it with, like, if you buy a core set, a fat pack or whatever, or
Right.
booster box.
You can do it with a lot.
You could do it a lot. You get some longevity out of it.
That's true. The other thing I like about it is it has like a built-in excuse if it doesn't go well. It's like, I didn't build this deck. You know?
Right, exactly. Look, I just had to do what I had to do.
I didn't draft this. I just shoved a land in there.
I
Stack
have
sucks. Not my fault.
5 colored lands, and I can't play anything.
And then you win. You're like, get dunked, you fucking moron.
So yeah, I wish we could have played more of that. I really don't have an interest of doing booster drafts at Gen
events.
Con. No, not like that. Funny thing though, remember the pre-release I went to, and I talked about how that woman, we beat my last game.
Yeah.
And she was making me feel bad because I was killing puppies or whatever. Not really making me feel bad. I was just walking around, and I happened to see them.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh, hey, what's up?
Did you say
That's
hi?
funny. Yeah, I did say hi.
That's cool. Small world. Mm-hmm. Well, very cool.
That's all the Magic I've really been playing. I mean, I've been playing other Magic too, but it's just been like the Challenger decks or
Sure.
Guild kits,
Sure.
which I love the Guild kits. They're like mini Commander decks. They're fun.
That's very cool. Actually, both those things, Mini Masters and the Guild kits, kind of get us into our next topic for discussion. You want to get into that?
Yeah.
All right.
'Cause I have another Magic to talk about that I've played.
All right. Well, let's get in the zone.
Auto Zone.
No, construction zone.
Oh, shit.
Construction zone. It's a bone zone. Put your helmet on. The shit is OSHA. Bust out your lotion, son, but keep your clothes on. This shit is wholesome. What I wanted to talk about today, it's kind of an odd construction zone topic because we're not actually constructing a deck or constructing anything today, but I wanted to talk about this, and I think that it may eventually get into a construction building of things. Mm-hmm. And the topic is basically like weird alternate formats and ways of playing Magic. So we're all familiar. You and I talked about previously on the show the different kinds of Magic that exist, like the main formats. You've got your standard, you got your modern, you got your legacy and your vintage. And then outside, those are kind of like, that's like the core, the staples.
Yeah.
Then outside of that, you've got things like Pauper, which is actually gaining more traction now.
Yes.
It's always been a thing, but it's gaining more traction, playing with just commons. Mm-hmm. Commander, I would say, is a staple, especially since, WotC makes Commander products now.
Yes.
But Commander started as a fan-made format. And there are lots of formats like that. Cube also started the same way. It was a fan-made format. And both those formats, Commander and Cube, are two of my favorite ways to play. So I've kind of been looking into other weird and interesting ways of playing Magic. And Mini Masters, I first heard about from you. And it's a very interesting, very different kind of experience to play this game. Mark Rosewater's talked about the idea that Magic is a rule set, but it's a bunch of different games. And I think all these game types really exemplify that.
It's kind of like a regular card game, right? Like your standard deck of cards, but you can have Euchre and you can have poker and even have different variations of poker.
Right.
Texas Hold'em, you know.
I've always thought about when I first started playing Magic, and it wasn't, I mean, Magic was big, but it wasn't as big as it is now, and you definitely had to explain it to people. The way I thought about it originally was it's like chess, except if the chessboard had like a million different pieces, and you had to choose which pieces you wanted to start with in a given game.
Maybe you could just say, hey, it's like a card game, like a standard deck of cards, and you got like these different types of things, like euchre and cribbage and spades.
But the difference is that all those different games have different rule sets, like completely different rules. Poker is a completely different game than euchre. IMO.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Poker is like a betting game.
But like they use cards.
Like Rummikub.
And Yahtzee.
But anyway,
I see what you're saying. So the listeners at home don't think I'm a complete fucking idiot.
They don't think that.
you were saying.
So I wanted to talk about some of the other game modes. We've also talked about on the show Planechase, and you've played Planechase and you enjoyed it.
I do.
So I was reminded when I was looking at these different formats, so just a quick refresher for the listener who, if you haven't played Planechase, this was an official Magic product. They had these oversized cards that represent planes that you're warping to. So you can play this. It's a way to add on to any game of Magic. You can add to Commander, you can add to Standard, whatever. But basically, as you're playing, you roll a dice called the planar die, and one of its 6 faces, is the planeswalk symbol. You go to a new plane, you flip a new planar card, it has some effect on the game state, and 4 of the sides are blank, they do nothing, and one of the sides is chaos. Each planar card has a chaos symbol, it gives you some bonus effect, basically. And it's really fun. You really don't have to have anything else. It can be that by itself, and it's really good. But there's another way to play Planechase that I had forgotten about called the Eternities map.
Can I click this? Am I allowed to touch it?
You are, and I'll explain what it is, basically.
Click, 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 click.
So if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see that grid of 5 cards.
Yes.
So basically the way this game starts is instead of just having a planar deck and flipping one card over, you flip one planar card over, that's where you're starting, and then on the top, bottom, left, and right of that, you put a planar card face down. So you've got basically a cross, and the middle of this cross is flipped over so you can see what plane you're on. The only difference here between this and the normal Planechase is now you get to choose a direction. So when you roll a planeswalk symbol, you flip those 4 surrounding cards over, and you choose which one you want to go to.
Oh.
So there's a little bit more intentionality to it. It's not just completely random, chaotic.
Boo!
Now, for someone like yourself, there's an additional thing you can do instead. You can do something called hell riding.
That sounds more of my speed.
Instead of going to a known plane, you can go diagonally to an unknown plane. And you flip one up at random. And this
always.
One cool thing about this is there's a little bit more strategy to it, maybe. But the other one is that you get this cool sense of like where the different planes are in relation to each other, and you get more of a sense of like trying to walk between the worlds, as opposed to just sort of, whoa, we're somewhere else now.
That's like how I imagine all planes walking to be.
Whoa!
Totally wicked! What a roller coaster!
So that one's an interesting way to go. It does require you to play this completely different, and you need these special cards, so I don't know about that.
Sounds like a different game to me.
It is different. And you are right. Like, the thing that's fun about Planechase, in my opinion, as well, is the chaos of it. Like, you don't know what's coming up next.
Heck yeah, you gotta adapt.
That's right.
Or not.
And I don't like as much because there's a different version you can play where each person has their own planar deck of at least 10 planar cards. And then you're supposed to be like, if you're trying to play optimal, you're trying to synergize between your main deck and your planar deck, and it's just more planning and thinking, which sounds up my alley. But at that point, it's like I already have Magic. I'm already happy with Magic. I don't need this other planar deck. I just like the big stack of cards that everybody shares. Chaos, chaos, chaos.
Yes.
Just casual fun. Okay, so that one's whatever. This one, I like the idea a lot, although I don't know how it would play out. And it's called Backdraft.
Sounds
dirty.
Silly.
It is. Basically, what you're doing here is you're drafting a deck, and you're trying to draft the worst deck that you can make.
I did that. Remember when I was in a bad mood?
Yes, I do.
Remember when I was very, very angry? I was very, very sad and depressed one day, and tried to play Magic to feel good. Not a great idea. I just made Kenny sad and depressed. I was like, I'm going to make the worst deck possible. Maybe if I did it when I was like actually like in a happy mood, it'd be more fun.
I think you'd enjoy it a lot because the twist here is that you're trying to make the worst deck that you can make, and then you force the other person to play it.
Yes!
Sold.
Let's do it.
All right.
Sold. 100%. We'll do this. We'll backdraft into oblivion.
We'll do a combat phase where we backdraft. So yeah,
sounds great.
You make the opponent, and if the opponent wins with your deck, you lose, basically.
It's like in Euchre.
Yeah.
When you make a call.
Yes.
And I can't remember what it's called.
Magic is like Euchre. That's what we're learning this episode.
Magic is like a standard deck of cards.
In that it's made of cardboard, yes.
And there's colors on them.
True. Black and red. Those are both Magic colors. Very good. Okay, so that's backdrafting, and obviously you can do that with any draft format. So any booster pack draft format works for that. Okay, next is Prismatic. Prismatic is very simple.
Can I guess it?
Yeah, guess what is Prismatic?
Do you bring crystals into the game, and so then you like toss crystals, and then it tells you how to divine your cards, and then you draw and play based on what the crystals tell you to do?
Mm-hmm. That could not be more wrong if you tried. I feel
are the moon phases involved?
You're missing the pyramids as well.
And dolphins.
No. Prismatic is it has to be a deck of at least 250 cards.
Oh, that's so stupid. I hate it already.
And you have to use all 5 colors. And I think there are also there's requirements for how many of each color.
Kurt Hahn, what were you thinking?
It sounds like, to me, the cool thing about it to me sounds like it's the idea of Commander where it's like it's supposed to be maximally variant, you know?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be as different as it can be each time you play it, except even larger. Bigger deck, wider variety of things. You have to be all 5 colors. I don't know. That sounds like ridiculous fun to me.
I don't like the idea of shuffling 250 fucking cards. I don't even like shuffling a Commander deck.
Very, very true. Like,
it's only 99 cards.
If you had that double sleeved, you really would have to have that in like multiple stacks.
Oh my god. Just bring my suitcase full of Magic cards. I'm here to play Slam Prismatic.
Boom. That would be a good format. I wonder, because they have a banned and restricted list. I bet Battle of Wits is banned from that. Battle of Wits is an enchantment. Battle of Wits is an enchantment that I'm paraphrasing here. I believe it's at the beginning of your turn. If you have 200 or more cards in your library, you win the game.
It would have to be fucking banned.
I'm sure it is, because otherwise every deck would just be trying to tutor for Battle of Wits. Yeah, so we'll put that one aside. Let's get to the one I'm actually excited about and thinking about building. So this is something called a mini cube. That's not a link, unfortunately.
I'm clicking it. Why isn't it going?
Because I just want to describe it to you.
Okay.
So, and to the listener. So a mini cube, it's very different from the normal cube drafting that we do, where it's a big collection of cards, we make booster packs, quote unquote, and we draft from them. In a mini cube, same deal where it's a big collection of cards. The ones I've seen, they say 100 cards or more. You can have a bigger one. But basically, it's 2 or more players. I am envisioning it as like a multiplayer thing. It's one big deck in the middle of the table of like 100 or more cards.
Okay.
It's a shared library. So every player takes 7 cards, and you start with 7 cards. There are no lands. Okay? Instead, you can play any card from your hand face down as a land. This land can tap for 1 mana of any color. So already that's interesting because you'll always hit your land drops if you need them. And you're getting all kinds of crazy different cards, and you're just battling multiplayer from the shared pool. And it's a shared graveyard. And I have also seen interesting house rules. So the video I learned this from, they said they have 2 Joker cards in the mini cube, which are wild cards, and you can make that be any Magic card you want it to be. It sounds like such ridiculous fun. You love chaos. You would love this, I think. Why are you rolling your eyes at me?
What are you talking about? I'm just not looking at you at all. I'm not rolling my eyes.
That's worse. You don't like this idea? Why? Tell me.
Where are my lands?
Anything's a land.
No.
Every card can be a land.
No.
I think you could do it a different way. I think you could also do it so that the mini cube is just filled with tons and tons of multicolored lands, potentially.
Yeah, because my thing is, sometimes, I don't know. It would be interesting to try. I'm not saying it wouldn't be fun. I'm just like, why, though? Sorry.
In my head, one of the reasons that I'm interested in building it, because I have the cube already. When I want to play some serious Magic, some serious, obviously I say serious Magic. It's a casual format, right?
Right.
But you're trying to win. You're trying to dominate and be the best. I play cube. When I'm trying to be a little more silly with a constructed deck, I do commander.
Right.
What if I want to just have some silly, quick fun, like if I'm at some event or something with people who play Magic? Because the thing is, I've talked about this with you. When we go to D&D B&Bs, it's just a weekend with your friends playing tabletop role-playing games. I always have the fantasy of bringing the cube, and I've brought the cube before. There's never time to draft. You can't really draft in the in-between times. And Commander's good if people have Commander decks, but I want to have something where it's I can have kind of a randomized card Magic experience without having to do the full-blown
draft.
Let's sit down for 4 hours and draft this thing.
Right.
And so I think this could, and you can build the mini cube in a lot of different ways. And this is what I want to talk about on a future construction zone: is what would a really good experience from that mini cube be? I think I would want as many wacky fucking cards as I could get my hands on.
Chaos Wand.
Yes, stuff like that. I think that would be the best.
Chaos Warp.
Yep. Some additional rules that they have in this format, they're not really rules, they're just how to build the mini cube recommendations. You can't do things that let you search your library because it's just too much of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was thinking of things that,
There are some deck building rules or cube building rules to make it more streamlined, so you're not there's no shuffling of the deck. There's no if something lets you search for a land, you just take the top card and put it down as a land, stuff like that.
Yeah. Be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, when you get around to building it, I'll play it.
We're going to talk about it first, I imagine.
All right.
But I guess that's for another day.
Kenny, I enjoy talking about Magic. This is me doing bits. Don't you roll your eyes at me.
I'm not rolling my eyes at you. I'm looking at something else.
You're so mean to me.
How did this get turned on me?
Because you made a voice.
What are you talking about?
Voice. I never make a mocking voice. I've never mocked you in a mock your voice.
It's a mock trial right now. Editor here. The end of this episode was lost to the ravages of time, so I'm here to tell you where you can find us. You can email us at redmagebluemage@geekspective.com. You can find us on Twitter at redbluemtg. You can find Kenny on Twitter at Wolfmere, and you can find Amber on Twitter at RocketOrca. And being as how I'm here signing off, and Amber's not anywhere around, right? This week, instead of Counterspell, I have the last word. Good day.